Thank you very much for staying with us. Let's continue our conversations now. Mr. Adedeji, having listened to Comrade, speak about, the greater good, national interest for the love of country, so to speak. There are so many ways we can, dissect that, especially when we look at the reactions that opposition parties are already making. Even during collation, it was such an intense affair. In Imo State, for example, even though people have also complained about the manner in which the Imo Labour Party chairman was beaten and bundled out while trying to make a point. We'll talk about that in a moment. But the issue of whether INEC, in its engagement with political parties, should prepare them for how to react to the possibility of loss. Should that be a duty for INEC, or should it be in my own domain as a political party? Let us prepare ourselves so that we don't, rock the boat too much, that the nation will, will erupt, so to speak. What do you think?
Well, even if INEC engages political class on what should be the attitude when they lose an election, they will still not behave in that manner, because this is a developing nation where there are no companies, there are no industries. The only industry we have is politics. That's what accounts for 90% of unofficial GDP. Mark my word. How many companies do you have? How many industries do you have? And people believe the only way you can make money is through politics. So when they are going for an election in Nigeria, even because you pick a form, they're referring to you as a distinguished senator when you have not even won primary. The day you pick form and you paste your poster, people around you will be calling you Your Excellency when you have not even won the primary of your political party. To tell you how desperate the political class is.
Then the money factor.
Yes.
Would that also be?
Yes, it's part of developing nation. When we say a country is developing, it's a serious definition. There are so many factors that put one country as a developing country.
Those are the indices.
Those are the indices. But you see, our people in the diaspora, they are even worse off. They are even worse off.
Not helping matter.
They don't helping matter.
How so?
Now, if you travel to many of these countries, most importantly, the United States, the Canada, the UK, most of our people in the diaspora, what they cannot practice where they are staying, they want us to practice it here.
Yes.
They don't even consider our environment. They don't even consider the way our
peculiarity.
They don't. They don't even want to know. Most of them sold everything they have before they travel. They've forgotten that. And what they can do is to throw back crisis. Let me give you an example. I'm very sorry to take you. Say this. I was to travel from, I don't know whether maybe Chicago or Houston. And I met a young man. The man was trying to check me in on a particular airline from Chicago. And the man told me, "Oh, you are from Osun State?" I said, "I'm from Osun State." "Oh, I'm coming home to come and contest. I want to make money. In fact, I'm here in the US to just make money so I can come home." So that is the kind of orientation or the mindset that they are bringing. So if such a person contests and he loses, even if you train him that he must prepare for loss, he will not prepare because he has put in everything. Look at I'm sorry to be using Dino Menayo as a classical example. I'm sorry. If you look at Dino Menayo, if he has won election, assuming, which is not possible, when you look at his own antecedent and so many other things, you will find out that many of our youth will have also believed that this is the way to go. So the INEC, to me, ought not to put their work in such training. However, the way they have National Institute of Legislative Studies, where the National Assembly members are being trained on how to draft law, there can be a bureau like in the United States, a bureau for political class that we organize capacity development, even for the oppositions, how to engage government in power, for those who are contesting, for those who manage their votes during the election, for even chairman of a party. Chairman of a party must know his role from the elected personnel. In some political party, once you're a governor, you are the leader of your party. And we still have chairman. What should be their role? These are things that bureau for capacity development. We need it in the country. I know we need it.
Right.
But we may not saddle it with INEC, with already things. And let me also end it by saying that because we are a developing nation, the belief of the politician is that, look, even if I lose election, let me continue to make noise so that I can become relevant.
Remain relevant.
So that I won't lose my followers. People go to court, not because they want to win the tribunals, or they know they can't win. But how do we keep hope alive? How do we make our followers to believe that they know they're not going to win anything and they're not going anywhere? All
right. That said, while reacting to that disposition, buying and selling of votes, we also saw that, crop up. The issue of, insecurity, violence, before, during, and we hope that it's not going to escalate now that results have emerged. But what are your thoughts on, this recurring, ugly indices that we always, find associated with our elections? Well, and we did see the trends.
Well, thank you very much. As a chartered public administrator and a political scientist, we have come to identify that in nation building, you must not isolate the key institution that must play a central role in the subject matter. So that's why it's dangerous to give the responsibility of INEC to a bureau or to NO. It's a serious business, and that's the pattern all over the world. Institutions, when it is strengthened, it builds people. When churches are not strong, mosques are not strong, you see Christians are Muslim pastors. But when you strengthen your institution, and that's where I'm coming to, that we must strengthen INEC to be able to perform its responsibility and duty. And that's part of this we are doing today, that our role, that's for INEC, our role as a people is to supervise the government. The people must supervise the government. These are the things INEC is missing out. INEC has done very well since in the last 3 elections, up to what we have witnessed on Saturday. They are doing their best. We were just having a discussion with him before we came on board that we must not run faster beyond our capacity. And that's what INEC is telling us, that electronic inclusion or any other thing to our election today may be dangerous. That is the pace we can move. So it's not an indictment on INEC, but what we are saying is that it is important. Some presidents in this country don't know that we practice presidential system of government. He doesn't know the difference between, as a president, I don't want to mention him. It's not the president that I'm talking about. So, but it's the duty of INEC to explain to us so that it's not going to be when you get to power, then certain issues will become problem with you. Obasanjo didn't understand that we can create local government on our own in Lagos. He didn't know. He didn't know. He became combative. Any month, he became combative. That's lack of political clarity. And those are issues. Then come to to governors too. There are some policies to some governors that now you wonder. The moment you win an election in Nigeria, you start presiding over the fate of 10 million people, only for you to discover after 2 years that this governor is not talking to us, and they will tell you that that's his style. There's no style in governance. Governance is engagement. Half of the job of a president, a governor, a public office holder, that I'm using my money to pay his salary, is to talk to us, explain your policy to us, defend your policy, pronounce your policy. So if you don't know this, which is the case all over the world, and it's a sequence, it's keep developing, we now got to a point where INEC must increase its responsibility. It's doing so, but with the caveat that specifically, when you win an election, you must know that this is a capitalist nation. A capitalist nation will privatize. The driving economy of capitalism is to borrow. And the economy that is to make profit. institution will be made to make profit, will privatize education. Prepare your mind so the young people will know that Tinubu is not being wicked. If he's saying that institutions will be privatized, it's not being wicked. If you want us to change their political ideology, economic ideology, let us change it. But for young people, even for some people in government, up to the point that Atiku don't understand the political institution we run in Nigeria, and I begin to wonder that what's responsible for. And that's why in our engagement as civil society with INEC, we told INEC that the missing link is the knowledge that we need to impact in the political class. Now, having done that, the people with the greatest responsibility is not only INEC, it's also the people. We must admit that we have a role to play as a people. We must also know that there are things that you don't need anybody to tell us, which is a universal standard, which is the protection of your country. You must protect our country from the political class. And I am happy that that has been demonstrated in 3 elections. Before now, ours will have gone burnt. There were violence, but it's reducing drastically. Go and look at the indices. From 1999 to date, election of 2011 is the most violent in the history of this country since 1999. Go and check it, it's there. So, but it's getting better gradually. So the people, the political class themselves must begin to behave maturely and be civilized about what they are doing. If you don't have a manifesto, you just want to be, just like I said, that if you don't have tool of winning an election, why are you complaining that you lost an election? You are in opposition. You can't marshal your point that if I was in power, this was how I would have handled the economy. This was how I would have handled security challenges. This was how I would have handled the health sector. You didn't say that you just want to win an election and you expect people to follow you. And when you lose, you now be inciting us because I'm a Muslim from the far north, because I'm a Christian, because I'm a Igbo. That's not how to win an election. How to win an election is about issues. What can you offer the people? Election period is a ceremony where you tell me the people that I'm going to give you an idea. Then I will say that, no, I can give you bread and butter. It should be, and that's the picture Nigeria must have in mind. Anytime you come out to vote for an election, it's not do that. It's a time to have an opportunity for alternatives on the table, that these are alternatives on the table for me. And that's what the political must begin to tell us, that the political culture of Nigeria, the political ideology of Nigeria, what's the content? You must be able to understand to a point that when you lose an election, you must admit that the people don't want you. It's not because INEC, the security agent, or any sector has done something or they ate your face. And that's the point I'm making.
Looking at the election in Kogi State, still 46,237 to the winner of the election, the APC Udodo, and then SDP also about half of it, 259,052 votes, and he's saying for him it's left to the party to decide, but he will not, be contesting the election. But when you look at the Ajaka scored like 8 or 9 or 10 local governments, even though the majority, of course, went to Ododo. But what do you make of the play out? Despite the opposition from Dino Melaye of the PDP, what do you make of that, and what governance would be like? And of course, that he was more or less an anointed successor. The governor who will be leaving soon has already given his remarks. Acknowledging the victory and, thanking the residents of Kogi State for voting his successor in. But, under this new looming administration now, what are your expectations?
Well, for Kogi State and every other states, my expectation is not going to be too high in terms of governance, and I will give my reasons. And I'll give empirical examples. Now, many of our politicians, whether anointed or contested, if they contest on a major political party, probably the ruling party, chances of winning is very high. Not that they prepare for governance, like what he was saying. Many of them, many of the ministers, commissioners don't even know their duties. They just get the appointment. It's only when they now get to the city, they now be asking, what do we want to do? How do we want to go about it? When you look at Asiwaju now, the current president and commander-in-chief of armed forces, when he travels for all his foreign engagement, you will see the accounting in him, the financing in him when he talks, without any prepared speech. It's different from when our president will be told what to say. Economy will not be better now, but we have hope that somebody who knows what he's doing or who prepares for the task. It may be difficult. I'm not saying it may not be difficult. However, for Ododo, he was the Accountant General of the state, the immediate past Accountant General of the state. And we knew how many unpaid salaries in that state. Before he could be anointed, the governor must have seen something in him. So it is now incumbent on Ododo to change the narrative, to truly show the Kogites that he understands governance without fighting his mentor. Because it's going to have two issues. If you want to do good, he must also be in good book of his mentor, the godfather. And there are two conflicting objectives. There are two conflicting objectives before him now. Because any attempt for him to go against his mentor, not to take care of, because his mentor is not a senator, neither is an House of Rep. He's going to be ex-governor. And it's not likely to be a minister in a few months. And the man will also need to be relevant in the scheme of things. So any attempt not to take care of him will make matter worse. So he must be told right now.
All right.
Then he must equally do good, do well to the people. Because if I were Ajaka, I would not go to court. I will not contest it. The man has sprung surprises without vote. If he doesn't go to court and he goes back to his drawing board, it will get to a level, Togri will not make victory for a failed governance. Togri, there's a level that Togri can go.
It's going to play out now, gradually.
There's a level, because we are developing, whether we like it or not, and our democracy is being strengthened. The level of courts throwing away elections has come down gradually. I'm not saying you should not go to court if you have a good evidence. If you look at Kogi State, the returning officer knew very well that, why am I waiting? Even the remaining 5 local governments, add all the together. They cannot meet up this 400,000. So why am I wasting my time? Let me declare the people. If they now conduct that election, the man want to avoid the problem of coming back to Kogi, the security. So if you had the vote, you too can have it on your own. Because already the combined...
His work was done, so to speak, looking at the numbers.
Numbers. So he doesn't want to come back and risk his life again. So for us in Kogi, there may be no much difference.
Okay. I want, Comrade, to respond to that. All right. Enter Ododo now. Even though he has, in his speech, people were even wondering why Governor Yahaya had to be the first person to react to the announcement that Ododo won. And when Ododo eventually spoke, he kept referring to his benefactor, his father, his mentor. What do you see Kogi governance under Ododo?
Well, you are talking about political development and consolidation as school scientists now. There must be enough time for people who took over power from the military to demonstrate that all my manifesto has been exhausted. Another party will take over. That has played out in Nigeria. And that's why peace is there today. You must also see in states where incumbent will lose to opposition, where opposition will also lose to incumbent. There must be also states like Lagos, where they do the right thing and voters kept coming back to them. So what Ododo needs to do is to look at Lagos model. Why is Tinubu still relevant in today? It's because Tinubu has not been too ambitious. He didn't invite for any office until this presidency. So, although those should look at why previous governors, Ayabelo should look at why Tinubu kept. So, if it's about the state, Ayabelo will keep on, it will be very, very, continue to be relevant. But if it is about what's on the table for your benefactor, like I claim I am, they will fight. Because as an accountant, I have a brother as an accountant, he's sitting down here. I know when it comes, I know their character when it comes to money. So they will have issues. So Ayabelo should prepare his mind that this is a service to the people behind the scene. It should not be the pulse of the Kogi state must get approval for me before you spend one. If that, they won't spend 1 month. And we have seen the example in Edo. We have seen all over the country. And there's a way you manage your godfather that you don't have issue. There's a universal standard all over the world that people, godfathers are managed. In America, Obama can never dream to become the president of America. But Andrew Carnegie, John D. Rockefellers, all those foundations push him up. And up to today, you have not seen where the foundation has taken one era from Obama's administration. Because there's a model that they work on. So if they adopt that model in Kogi, they are going to succeed the way Lagos has succeeded too. But if you adopt the usual Nigerian model, where opposition, the godfather will say, what is in the purse for me? And the governor will say that the current governor will say that there's nothing. They will have issue in less than 6 months.
Quickly, a lot has been said about Imo State, Hope Uzodinma getting a second term. But, what would be your own, expectations? Right. He has opened the door, so to speak, his doors to the opposition.
The character of the president at times is contagious. When you have a president that is edgy, that is strong in character, that is not mature and civilized, it's difficult for you to, even if the governor is not in his political party, they'll surely behave like him. We have seen that play out with Obasanjo, Jonathan, Buhari, and Tinubu. When Tinubu came on board, that was how what he demonstrated. So it's difficult for you to now say that I want to shut out the opposition. This is the time to run you to the lagoon. So he adopted the president's pattern that the door is open for you. This is our state. Let's build it together. And like I said, except the governor has performed so woefully, Dinkoba has performed so woefully, it's only that he's going to lose the election. I knew that he may come back. I knew that he's likely to win. Despite the intervention, the uncivilized intervention of Ajiru, he won the election. Look at, it's ridiculous, 540,000. Put the vote of the opposition. It's not even up to 50% of it. That shows that he's very popular, and that shows that he's doing something right.
And a particular paper called it Hope Returns for Imo Residents. Is that how you see it too?
Yeah, yes. Well, I would just advise the governor to please industrialize the state in a second term. He has the option. The security in Imo State is improving day by day. And he should gather his colleagues together in the Southeast and try to re-industrialize that region. That is the only way you can tame youth. And so all other governors, many of our companies are dying day by day. They are dying day by day.
And they're getting allocation.
And they are getting allocation. And the pressures of federal government, because people as citizens don't even know the role of the state. For even those who cannot even have children, is on Tinubu. Those who cannot even marry, is on Tinubu.
So that political education is important.
Are you getting me? So people must understand the difference between the subnational government and the national government.
Yeah.
And when we talk about agriculture, it is subnational government that's supposed to take 90% of the drive, but they don't understand. The only thing they know is to tar road that they don't need to think of. Just give it to Julius Berger, he will do it for you. That's the only thing they do, and that's what the commissioning.
You can see the question I'm talking about. You
can see
where I'm coming from.
Right. You see, when we say our political class, the only thing they know how to do is to tar road. I'm not saying road is not good though. Get me right. But when it involves something strategic thinking, they can't do it. When you talk about agriculture, I say, okay, across the value chain, the primary, the secondary, the manufacturing, you are talking English. So what I would just call our people, and for godfathers, and I'll conclude with this, look at what is happening in the Ekiti State. Look at what happened in the State. You see Kawere Fayemi being a mentor to Biodun Ibanji. But you can see that everybody is appreciating the guy.
All right. All right, gentlemen, thank you very much, Abiodun Adedeji Fellow, ICANN Fellow. Thank you so much for your thoughts. And as always, election observer, public affairs analyst, you wear so many hats, Razak Olokoba. Now, political scientist, thank you.
And a fellow of NIM.
That exuded. Gentlemen, I appreciate your time with us on
Thank you.
TVC Breakfast.
It's a pleasure.